Hello, this is Corey the Keyblade Wielder, and we're back for another commentary. Disney versus Marvel Villains War Round 2. And yeah, we're still doing the remastered version. Again, the remastered versions are the true canons. That's what the GA villain states. So let's get started. Well, that's a cool theme, and also now I got to know that's the Galactus theme. I guess it's from Marvel versus Capcom or something. So we got Queen Grimhilda versus Shocker. After the Queen finally kills Snow White with a poison apple. She's then got interrogated by Shocker. How do you get all the way to New York, all the way to Germany? Germany is actually where Snow White takes place. Yeah, now she's being chased by him, and I think it kind of makes sense because she was struck by lightning. Well, she was on the ground there, but then the lightning came, which caused her to death. And Electro is full of electricity and death. See what I mean? Shocker wins. Next fight: the Enchantress versus Maleficent. Loki has been keeping an eye on Hades, and he knows that he forged an alliance with Maleficent. So he sends the Enchantress to take her down. Huh. I don't know much of the Enchantress. I'm not sure which Enchantress she is from Norse myth. I don't remember her being in any of them. Well, there's Balder, who is like the Norse god of the sun. Then there's Tyr, who like watches over Midgard, which is like Earth. Lady Sif of the Valkyries. Freya, Odin's wife. Thor, the god of thunder, who is indeed Odin's son. And Loki is Odin's brother, but in the Marvel stuff, he's the son of Odin, which is kind of weird. And Hela, or Hel for short, which is like one L, is Loki's daughter. Fenrir is Loki's son, who is a wolf. I know, it's weird. Sorry for all the rambling, it's just history stuff. Looks like Maleficent wins. Next fight: Bill Sikes versus the Kingpin. Sikes and Kingpin are talking to each other having a chat. Are they on Facebook? Huh. I guess they're going on Facebook. And Sikes has threatened the Kingpin that he will take over his territory. Okay, I know the Kingpin is supposed to be all muscular, but does that look like a muscular guy? Hold on. Yeah, he's strong enough to break that thing, like the vase. But look at him. He looks like an obese fat man with a head that small. Okay, and he hires Shocker for an assassin. And Shocker arrives at Bill Sikes' territory. Yeah, not a guy that send your dogs after someone who's got like shocking powers. And Shocker wins. And next fight, the odd one: Red Skull versus the Queen of Hearts. Like, how did someone like Red Skull, who is a Hydra, an ex-Nazi, ended up in Wonderland? Okay, if you want to know why, you see, Hydra, they were formerly Nazis. They don't have the same belief as the Nazis do. They sort of form their own groups. But they do see Jews and other races as minorities, but they're just not part of the Nazis. They're ex-Nazis or betrayers of the Nazis. So we see Red Skull wants to forge an alliance with the Queen of Hearts because that's what he travels to Wonderland for. But the Queen of Hearts rejects it and yells at him. Because Red Skull is not going to take no for an answer. Hey, got hit by a flamingo. Oh, yeah. No, she's gonna run away from a Hydra. A Hydra commander, that is. Not the Greek mythology one. Hey, that looks like the footage from Disney Villains Revenge. Interesting. Next fight. Scar and Zero versus the Windigos. Windigos? Let's just say, they're part of, like, the Native American mythologies. They're sort of like Bigfoots and Loch Ness monsters of Native American myth. Actually, how they came to be is if a person, becomes a cannibal. And after that, they become the monstrous Windigos. They're like half man, half every random animals you can think of. But I was surprised to know there are Windigos in Marvel. Scar and Zero arrived at the elephant graveyard to recruit hyena armies until the Windigos showed up. Huh. These look like the more scarier Windigos. I'm not sure which Marvel cartoons are the Windigos from. They look kind of threatening. Which, of course, they're supposed to be. The Windigos. They're supposed to look scary. Well, that ought to hurt. Scar and Zero wins. Next fight. Demona versus the Brotherhood of Mutants. Demona has infiltrated their base to get the Grimorum Arcanorum. And oh, I'm glad you're using this version of X-Men. Okay. Even though we only saw like round one and then this part so far with the 90s animated series, well, except for the Loki one, I'm not sure if there was a 90s Thor cartoon. I don't care. And I'm really happy you're using X-Men Evolution over the 90s X-Men cartoon from the 90s. Because I know a lot of people think, oh, it's so awesome, it's cool, and even Nostalgia Critic liked it, but I'm sorry, but X-Men, the animated series from the 90s, is just so cheesy. I'm just thinking X-Men Evolution is much better. It has much better animation styles. And they're just standing there and just let her take it. Oh, she's casting a spell. Run away! And there's Mystique. Why not call it Demona versus the Brotherhood of Mutants and... Oh, okay, never mind. Now we got Scarlet Witch fighting her. Next fight, Jafar versus some random Marvel villain I don't know of. Nicholas Scratch. Jafar's mysterious master orders Jafar to go to a place called New Salem for something like, oh yeah, to take it over. Jafar is enthusiastic and leaves immediately. Gee, I wonder who that mysterious employee could be. I can't tell by the eyes. So, no, it's my sarcastic. Because Jafar arrives and he deals with this dude, Nicholas Scratch, and... Okay. I don't know who Nicholas Scratch is. I never bothered looking him up. I've always said I don't know much of Marvel. But I know some. For example, Doctor Doom. I know who he is and whose nemesis he is. The Kingpin. I know who he is and whose nemesis he is. The Spider-Man villains. I know who there are. I know who's... Well, obviously Spider-Man, because they're Spider-Man villains. Magneto. I know who he is and whose nemesis he is. Loki. I know who he is and whose nemesis he is. Except for this dude. I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he is. I can't tell by the animation style. I don't know whose nemesis he is. Okay, I'm more Disney than Marvel. Just because I'm a diehard Disney fan doesn't mean I'm a diehard Marvel fan. Just don't expect me to know every single Marvel stuff. I know some, but I don't know most of it. Whenever I look at some characters I don't know from Marvel, I would be all, who are you and why should I care? In a way. So yeah, with Nicholas Scratch, who are you and why should I care? I was kind of rooting for Jafar more because I just don't know who Nicholas Scratch is, nor do I care. I'm just not a really big Marvel fanboy. I know Marvel is owned by Disney, which they bought it, but just because I'm a Disney fan doesn't mean I'm a Marvel fan. And Jafar wins. Now for the epilogue. Although one thing to point out, I love how you're using the Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep audio.
Louise, one chump after another. The who's who of the Capcom disasters around.
I like how you're adding the audio.
Is one measly warrior tough enough to give Zeus a jolt of his own medicine.
Okay, it's kind of interesting. It's like Zeus is still around. And actually, when you look back at the other previous rounds and the fights, we do have heroes around. In most villains tournaments or wars, all of the heroes are either dead, or they're missing, or they're both dead and missing. But in here, we established there are heroes around.
Wait. Dark. Moody. Powerful. Yes. Perfect.
Avalanche?
Hey, kid. Huh?
Using Zack's audio. Zack from, like, the Final Fantasy games. That was in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep in the
Over here. Come here.
Olympus Coliseum. Oh, Mind Heist, how I missed you so much. So we discovered that Electro was ordered by Red Skull to take out the Queen. But he's not too keen on Red Skull's order anymore. That double-crosser. Then Frollo has observed this whole scene. But he wants to forge an alliance with him, but it turns out he survived from that. Of course, just like in the movie. And wants to forge an alliance together. Then we see Jafar in Neverland recruiting Captain James Hook. I like how he added a list, like, just like, hey, as long as you join our alliance for world conquest, while also having good hygiene. Dude, I'm a pirate. Why do I need hygiene for? I just thought it'd be kind of weird if that was in the list. Like a contract or something. Then on Hydra Island, we see all the members of Hydra. Don't know who these two are, but then Doctor Doom shows up. and he wants to take over Hydra. Okay, where did this become random villains war all of a sudden? Then we see the Enchantress after losing to Maleficent, but Loki gives her a new job. That was Disney versus Marvel Villains round 2. Yeah, that was pretty good.